The Phantom of the Opera by Gaston Leroux was certainly not the book that I was expecting, which sounds really strange, but all my kind of assumptions on what this novel would be like or what it was about was based on my knowledge of the 1986 musical by Andrew Lloyd Webber, which also been turned into a film as well. Um, and I knew that that was about a love story, a forbidden love story, and very passionate. Gaston Leroux's novel is very, very, very different. Which I think is actually really nice because it enables you to watch the musical and then to read the book and have two very separate and different experiences, but are still kind of united with this idea, which I really like. Gaston Leroux's novel is much more of a mystery crime thriller than a love story. At first, I was a bit like, this isn't the novel what I wanted to read. It wasn't what I was expecting, so I was not so keen because I really wanted this love story. And I really like kind of obsessive kind of love as a theme. Now, the novel does have a bit of love in it, but it is obsessive and is unrequited, but it's not the kind of the very strong force in the novel as it is in the musical. The novel centres around an opera house in Paris, which really adds to the tone of the novel because it's very melodramatic and very rich, and just really fits in with the idea of what an opera house would be like in Paris and that kind of glamour. And it actually really juxtaposes nicely with the kind of the horror in which the Phantom of the Opera brings on the opera house. So the Paris Opera House is said to be haunted by a ghost, the opera ghost. The opera ghost has two demands that he gives to the opera's managers. The first one is that he is given a generous salary, and the second one is that box 5 in the opera house is reserved for him. From the very beginning of the novel, the opera ghost sends great fear to the managers of the opera and to actually everybody in the Paris Opera House, and he sends threatening letters to make his points very clear. Meanwhile, Christine Daae, a young opera singer, has suddenly found her voice, and she is being trained by an unknown angel of music. We later find out that Christine's angel of music, who she was promised by her father to visit her, is actually Eric, and is not an angel, and is not a kind of a present from her late father. Eric is the Phantom of the Opera, and he's malformed and lonely and evil, but a genius. And as Eric is training Christine Daae, he becomes very obsessed with her. Though when Rao, a member of the aristocracy, comes to the opera house and sees Christine sing, he instantly falls in love with her. Then there is this little sense of a love triangle, and it makes Eric even more obsessive and dangerous. Apart from those kind of plot lines, I don't want to give you much else because I think the whole idea of it being a mystery is that you just don't know where it's going to go. That was the magic of this novel. Like with some mystery stories, you kind of know what's going to happen. You can really get a sense of the ending. With this, I had no idea until I turned over the last page. I was shocked and surprised and just really in awe of Leroux being able to keep me so invested into the story. The characters are quite flat, which sounds really bad, as in they're just really there for the reader to discover the mystery of Eric, the Phantom of the Opera. But Eric himself actually still remains quite an enigma to the reader. The character of Eric just really, really fascinated me because he is portrayed as very evil and obsessive, but you really do pity him. And I think my favourite bit of this book is actually maybe the last two chapters, not the postscript, but the two before that, because you really pity Eric and you really feel sorry for him. And the idea that you read this novel and you are very aware, like, Leroux doesn't hide the fact that Eric is mad and very bizarre and evil, but you really, really pity him and you sympathise with him. The main character of this novel is actually Rao, in my opinion, because it is kind of his story you follow, which I was surprised by because of the kind of the back, I presumed it was going to be Christine. I didn't really care for any of the characters except Eric. I was very interested with Eric. But in fact, there was a character in the Persian, but the Persian was throughout the novel, but he really kind of came into the novel towards the end. I think there was little mentions to him in the kind of the beginning, but at the end there was a shift in narrative, a shift in narrator to the Persian, which I really enjoyed because it gave a lot of history and backstory to Eric. And everything kind of came together with the Persian's narrative. The book does have romance in it. It has a lot of unrequited love, and in fact, at the end, in my favourite kind of the last chapter, you really feel the pain of unrequited love and the importance of being loved. The romance adds to it and intensifies all the emotions, but it is a thrilling, creepy mystery horror story which at times is actually quite terrific. I have now watched both of these. I watched them after I finished the book. Overall, my favourite one is this. This is beautiful. This is The Phantom of the Opera at the Royal Albert Hall in celebration of 25 years of Andrew Lloyd Webber's musical. Really, really passionate. As in, there are a lot of things in here that happen in the book, but they have just twisted it and kind of made it into Christine's story and in Eric's. But what I love about this is that this could have so easily have been going on like behind the scenes, all the things that you don't really get to see or hear in the novel. I actually think that like some of the scenes in this would have happened in the novel. That doesn't make any sense. I didn't like this. I really like Emmy Rossum, but it wasn't passionate enough. It was very subtle. I got quite bored with it, actually. I actually got really bored with it. This one, however, was just really good. I reread a couple of passages and I just saw perfectly where they fitted in a song and where they kind of brought Eric into kind of centre stage within the musical. Overall, I actually really enjoyed The Phantom of the Opera. Like, I would put it down and I couldn't wait to pick it up again, and I actually stopped reading this when I was doing my exams, but yet I was still excited to kind of pick it up, and I was always so invested in the story, which is a really great testament to Leroux's writing.